Hello and welcome to the Gorgeous Goddess YouTube channel. So the topic I'm going to be speaking about today is enlightenment. So what I aim to do in this video is to give you one perspective on enlightenment. And the reason I say one perspective is because when we're talking about anything spiritual, anything beyond the three-dimensional world and the physical world, we're talking about energies, and we're talking about worlds that we may not be able to understand when you're experiencing everything through a brain because right now your consciousness is tied to a physical body, and it's tied into a brain that's got that experiences time, that experiences distance, length. Your brain kind of has a beginning, everything has a beginning, middle of an end. And your brain is really designed to understand the physical world. It's not designed to understand the spiritual world. So whenever we're speaking about spiritual concepts, what we're really doing is we're giving like a three-dimensional model of something that is kind of beyond the three-dimensional. So it's not going to be exact or precise, but it will give you a good insight and a good understanding. And maybe somebody else will come up with a different model and different words or different kind of metaphors to understand this concept of enlightenment. So that's what I want to say straight out, that this is not the only way to understand it, but see what you think. So when we're talking about enlightenment, okay, so what is enlightenment? I think you really have to go back a long way to understand this concept, because enlightenment is a process that's we're going towards, and it's the end of the process. But how did this process end? And I want to give you a possible way of thinking of how did this all start. So I want to start by talking about, where did your consciousness come from? So just consider for a moment that your consciousness was created when a spiritual being took its own consciousness, took a part of itself and concentrated it, took beautiful energies, vibrations, love, freedom, the will to grow and be more, the will to experience purity, all these beautiful pure vibrations, and took this energy at this beautiful vibration and kind of concentrated it, and at a certain density of that energy, out of that concentrated energy, an awareness came out, self-awareness came out, sprung out of it almost. And suddenly this part of this energy that was once just part of a greater being had the sense that it is something, said, here I am, I'm experiencing myself. So it's like you became a beautiful, pure energy with a sense of self-awareness. And so your self-awareness, your consciousness is like, it's like the thing that says, oh, I'm experiencing this, I feel this, I think that. It's constantly aware of everything. It's like, sometimes people refer to this as the observer inside your mind. It's like the thing that watches everything. So in this concept that I'm going to describe, you really are two things. You're this beautiful pure energy, this pure vibration of love, and then this consciousness that kind of is tied to it because it came out of it. So when you descended into a physical body, you had the ability to grow your consciousness, your awareness. Imagine that, whether you're in a body or not, you're constantly receiving a stream of spiritual energy, and that's yours to do with what you want, right? So you can, whatever you focus your awareness of, that's what you're doing with that energy. So if you've come into a body, you started very pure, but if you have a reaction of something's unfair, or something is scary, or something is wrong, your self-awareness, it moves from experiencing that beautiful energy that you started off as love, and purity, and it actually starts experiencing that other energy that you're now putting into kind of your soul vessel. So when you experience something like unfairness, you're focusing on it, so that stream of energy that is being sent to you all the time, you're now putting into yourself, into your soul vessel, energy that feels like unfairness, or the experience of unfairness, right? So through many embodiments, through this process, what ends up happening is all the different reactions that you've had, and all the things that you've focused on, the things that you've accepted as true, you know, so-and-so hates me, I'm unlovable. All those things, they're not just data and a thought. You've taken the energy from spirit that spirit has sent you, and when you focused your awareness on those concepts, I am not good enough, I am unworthy, you've actually created more of yourself, but at that energy now. So imagine you're like this soul vessel, you've got that beautiful pure part, that beautiful seed energy that spirit created you as, and then everything you've ever focused on is kind of also in your soul vehicle, and it's, you know, it's energies at all different vibrations, they've all got different themes. Now, so you're, you know, some people call this your personality. You've got different parts. You've got that personality that's the bitch, so-and-so, right? Okay, so you've got that part of your personality that's really giving and generous, right? And you've got different parts of your personality, you know, sometimes things hurt, and, you know, it's like you bounce around in there, feeling different energies. But when in a situation like on Earth, where everybody's gone through many traumatic embodiments, and you don't have to kind of, you know, look very far to understand what may have happened to you. Just look at history, even just the last 2,000 years, and you can get an experience that maybe you've experienced some stuff that wasn't so nice. You can even look at the world today, and you can imagine what kind of trauma and what kind of low vibrations you might have experienced, and how you might have focused in response to some of these really not so events that are completely out of alignment with spirit and with unconditional love. So you can get an idea of you know, what your soul vessel might be filled with. Now, when you've gone through many embodiments like that, what actually happens to you is you kind of forget that really in these high vibrations, you've got this, you are actually made out of this beautiful pure energy of unconditional love, of purity, you know, of peace, of utter peace, of total freedom, you know, of total self-worth and regard and self-love and all of that. You forget that because you've spent so long in these lower vibrations that you really start to think this is you. And even if somebody comes along and says, hey, actually, you know, you are divine. And a lot of, you know, this is not a new concept. And a lot of people come and say, hey, you know, you are a little part of God. Or they say, you know, you are a child of God. And you feel into yourself and you go, hey, that's a great idea, but it doesn't feel true to me. It doesn't feel true. You even look, you might even go, let me just even try to even hold that as my truth. And you might try, and you might vibrationally climb a little bit, but it's just, it's very, when you've got so much, this energy mass of these lower vibrations, it's very hard to get the courage to come out of there. And what you actually do need to, so what is enlightenment actually? Not what you need to do, because you don't need to do this. You can just go along and you can keep experiencing life through these lower vibrations and perceiving reality through that and interpreting reality through these concepts. But we're here talking about enlightenment. So what is enlightenment? So enlightenment is really, maybe it's lightening your consciousness until you're actually experiencing the reality through those initial beautiful pure energies of how you were created. So, you know, what you want to do is you want to learn how to wash away these lower energies. You're really letting parts of yourself, parts of your personality, I mean, let's face it, it is a death. You're letting these parts of yourself die and be dissolved through different spiritual practices. You're allowing new ideas into your mind. You know, you've got an idea, I'm unworthy, and then you allow different ideas in that you are actually divine. So you're allowing new ideas in, you're allowing different vibrations in, and you're washing this away. And enlightenment is when your consciousness realigns again with the purity and the energies of spirit, and sees reality through that and experiences that as the only reality. And you know, when you do that, when you've washed away these lower vibrations, it's like, you know, love and joy and peace is just streaming out of you, you know, and nothing that happens can make you lower your vibration. Your consciousness is now tuned to this higher vibration, and it's streaming this out into the world and experiencing that. And if you see somebody doing something, you know, that you perceive as wrong, you're not judging them, because you're seeing that they are just, you know, you're looking through the eyes of spirit. You're seeing the world through that higher perspective, through that higher energy, and you're seeing that this is just a beautiful soul that is also burdened by these lower energies, and they are struggling. So you're not seeing the world through judgment, you know, and you're able to be peaceful, and you're able to experience yourself as worthy, because you're no longer identifying yourself with any of these other lower energies and ideas that you've let into your being. And, you know, it's at that point that, you know, you might call yourself enlightened, but really it's, you know, it's not that you know anything different. It's that you are now experiencing reality through the energies of the spiritual realm, rather than the lower energies that exist here. So let me know what you thought about that explanation, and I hope to see you again.